Hello, my name's Clive Gross. I'm the principal spokesperson for Eastbourne Green Party and I'm also a candidate at the forthcoming council elections in Old Town. In a few weeks' time on May the 3rd, you'll all have the opportunity to vote for the 27 councillors across 9 wards that are going to represent you in the Town Hall for the next 4 years. Because of rule changes introduced by the Conservatives and Liberal Democrats recently, instead of annual local elections, we're just going to have one election for the entire council for the next 4 years. So what you do on May the 3rd will affect who runs this place between now and 2011, a period of great change for the town. You need to ask yourself, who do you trust with our unique local environment for the next 4 years? The same people from the same parties who've concreted over Eastbourne, from the South Downs to Sovereign Harbour? Or do you want some new faces on the council that are going to bring a fresh perspective to the town? Greens believe in sustainable communities. Here in Albert Parade in Old Town, we have the ideal place for local economic growth. Greens believe that the council needs to support local businesses in Eastbourne and not concentrate on just building another bigger and blander town centre as they plan. Both Conservatives and Liberal Democrats seem happy just to have a bigger shopping centre with more bland brands and lose the character and the special things that are here in Eastbourne. Albert Parade has got some great local shops, greengrocers, the Co-op even with all their fair trade goods as well, and lots of local businesses that are worth supporting. So we want to see more of this type of thing in Eastbourne, more support for independent local businesses and less stress on just looking like every other town along the south coast. All over Eastbourne and all over Old Town we're seeing these. These are phone masts. They're going onto every street corner, into every estate and far too near where people live. This is a tetramast, and tetramasts are the most damaging and most dangerous in terms of the emissions that they send out into the atmosphere. We can't see them, but over a long period of time they can have a serious effect on your health. The council does not have sufficient powers to make the phone companies site these things together or in places that are less damaging to our health. We want to see our council having more powers to turn down these masts and put them in appropriate places away from vulnerable people, young people, schools and areas of heavy population. Eastbourne has one of the best seafronts anywhere in the country. We have one of the only surviving built-in bandstands and we have a fantastic pier, unlike Hastings, which is still open and still standing up. Greens want to see more investment on our seafront. We want to see this council look seriously at turning this into a green tourism destination, not simply relying on cheap coach parties coming into town. We want to see green tourism as the forefront to drive the local economy, the tourism economy, and help really put Eastbourne on the map. We've got all the facilities here, we've got all the environment here. You really can't ask for a better thing. All we need is the political will and the imagination to make it happen. For the last 2 years, our council has been spending a lot of our money asking people to change their view about Eastbourne. A few ads on the Underground in London really aren't going to make the difference. What's going to make the difference is what happens here. Recently the council announced that they're going to invest another £300,000 in a new set of Dotto trains. We suggested they should be looking at environmentally friendly and more interesting transport solutions for our seafront, such as looking at the Brighton tuk-tuks or at cycle rickshaws that go along the seafront. A really green, really sustainable and really interesting way of seeing the fantastic seafront that we've got, all the way from Helen Gardens right down to Sovereign Harbour. Eastbourne has a perfect environment for getting around on foot or on bike, and yet we have almost no cycle lanes and no cycle provision in the town at all. Until recently we had a cycle lane along our seafront, a perfect location for a walk, a skate or to exercise on your bike. And yet last year the council took the seafront cycle lane away. We want to see cycle laning reinstated along the seafront so that people can enjoy the seafront, stay healthy and be active. Although recycling rates in Eastbourne have improved over the last few years, we've still got a long way to go. At the moment we only recycle 18% of our domestic waste, whereas neighbouring Wealdon District Council are already on 30%. These bins across the town make a great difference. Although we now have a few on the seafront, Greens want to see these introduced through the town centre, shopping centre, stations, outside the library and all sorts of places where people can recycle their waste on the go. Other councils do it across the country, so should we. Until recently what you see behind me was Watling Road Coach and Lorry Park. Before that it was actually a rubbish landfill site. Recently the council gave Wimpey Homes permission to build 225 new apartments and houses on this site. Rather than look for the best design, for a landmark development so close to Sovereign Harbour, to the Sovereign Centre and to the gateway to the town, we're going to have another massive overdevelopment with 6-storey high blocks of flats going all the way down Lotterbridge Drove, and more houses and more flats than we can deal with. There is no planning vision in this town. There is no vision for our future. Greens want to see sustainable development, long-term development for the benefit of the residents of Eastbourne. This is not the way to move forward. Here at Sovereign Harbour we can see another example of gross overdevelopment in Eastbourne. Over 20 years ago, our council gave away this land to developer Carillion to build what they were sold as a nice harbour-style Riviera development of around 1,000 houses. What we've actually ended up with is over 3,500 houses, a huge overdevelopment, loads of unsold properties and no community facilities for the residents who live here. There are no play areas, open spaces, no community centre, no doctor surgery. There's just one primary school to serve the whole community. On top of that, the only way to get here is to drive. The buses stop early if they run at all, and there's no link along the seafront to the town centre. We support Residents Association calls for a community council for Sovereign Harbour and for other areas of the town, so that the people who live in these areas make the decisions that are important to themselves. This would see a sustainable community in the harbour and other sustainable communities across the town. This is part of our vision for Eastbourne. If you want the same old for another 4 years, then you have that option on May the 3rd. If you want a different vision for Eastbourne, a long-term and sustainable vision for Eastbourne for the next 4 years, then please support the Green Party on May the 3rd. Thank you for watching. See you soon.